Sharon Zhang. I'm currently the Chief Technology Officer of Personal AI, which is one of the startups I co-founded last year. I'm also a graduate from MIT. Afterwards, I've been doing AI and NLP work in the industry, both healthcare, finance, as well as consumer and business for 15 years. So that's briefly my background. I'll talk more later.
I need to move somebody in the background. Okay, better now. Okay. Oh. Can you speak one more sentence?
Yes.
Okay.
I can speak one more sentence.
Okay, that's great. Okay. So so as Sharon shared, she's a grad from MIT. She has started quite a few startups. The current one is personal.ai. She will go into the depths about the company, and I will take over the screen, and then I'll give the screen back to her. Actually, can you guys see my screen? I think most of you know me, so I'm not going to go into a lot of introduction about myself. Feel free to connect me on LinkedIn. And I actually, just like Sharon, Sharon actually created more companies than I did. I created 2 companies, and the latest one is Hattie.com. And we are an educational collaboration platform. We work with teachers, and we basically get all the online components into a platform. I need yeah, good. Okay, so basically it's a whole platform. We work with top educators around the world, in person and also online classes. So you guys can go take a look at it. It's a brand new platform. We just launched in just past week, just a few days ago. Okay, and Sharon's technology and the personal.ai, I really hope to collaborate with her company down the road, and will bring a lot of interesting perspective to the online education and also offline education. And we have a pretty robust search engine, so you guys can say, hey, music, and your music class, some test classes, okay? And I'll just do the music. I love the music. And I say San Diego. I mean, okay, we just have one class in person in San Diego for music, and we have very experienced teachers, okay? So, and we have great classes for group classes, and a lot of great teachers. You can search the Asian time zone or US time zone and look at the time when it's launched, and then click the 2 boxes and you can book, and you can associate your parent account, I mean student account, and the student can associate parent account. All assignment goes through here. We have ambassador program, everything tracked. Okay, everything tracked in the Hattie Bank. Okay, that's about it. This is my latest, my team and our latest creation. Okay, so I will stop sharing here, and feel free to check it out. And I will give the screen to Sharon from here. Okay, and let me find Sharon. On the you want to give to the one, which one? There are 2 of them. Which one?
The one with my
picture.
Video.
Picture on it, or I see your face?
My face, real-time face.
A real-time face. Let me find it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. There are 2 of them. I don't know which one's correct. They're all the same. I don't know which one. Let me. Oh no.
The one that's waving.
That's right. That should make host. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I think I still cannot share.
Can I share? Okay. Let me see the other one. Oh, I have to. Sorry about.
Do you want to pass the host to me for a second?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Sorry, okay. We're both in tech and we can't figure out the tech here. It's a little bit embarrassing.
But I think it's the other one.
The other one. Okay. I will just.
Yeah.
Okay. The reclaim host, and for some reason I can't share with the other one.
Interesting. Okay. Do you want me to send you the slides then?
Yeah. You can talk through it, and I will I will open it while you guys, you can talk. Yeah.
Sure. Just give me one moment to send it to you.
Yeah.
Thanks guys for bearing with it. High housing prices. Okay, I like that. Risky, adventurous. Cool. You build up the company. Definitely. Innovation. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's all of it, right? I think building a startup is about building something that the world hasn't seen before, which is innovative. And for sure is a risky adventure for the people who are willing or wanting to jump into the unknown and learn as much as possible. And I love the get investor to support your ideas. I think that is definitely something that we constantly try to do, and Dan also does, I know, for her ventures. Yeah, all of that. Awesome. So why do I start? I think for me, right, the startup life is kind of what I thrive in. And today I'll talk through my journey, both my education journey as well as my startup journey. And I'll share a few stories that really inspired me as a person. And if I was 18, right, that's the stories that I want to hear. So I'll share those stories. Unfortunately, I cannot show you slides right now, but I'll share the slides after with Dan, and hopefully you get something out of that. So like I said, right, the reason I asked you guys is because I wanted to understand, right, like where everyone is on understanding what Silicon Valley is. For the people who have watched the Silicon Valley episodes, it's a quite close resemblance of what happens in Silicon Valley, right? And one analogy I really like is Silicon Valley is really like a valley. Your emotions goes from peak to trough within a day, right? You have investors who firmly believe in you, even though yesterday they did not know you. You have people whom you don't know who steal your ideas, right? You have your best friends working and living with you. And you also have nemesis, right, that you don't get along with, but you both have to push forward the company. So that's what Silicon Valley is, right? And for the people who hasn't seen the show, but are curious about startup life, it is a really good baseline. And the second thing I wanted to show you, which is also in this video clip, is actually a dialogue between one of the characters with his messenger. And when he is talking in this messenger and chatting with his friend, or who he thought was his friend was actually laughing because he's chatting with the AI. So this AI was built on top of his friend's training data set. And it was actually chatting like a person and fooling this particular character, right? So why that's of interest is because that is a Silicon Valley representation of what we're building at Personal.ai. So the idea of Personal AI, which I'll briefly talk about, is to be able to build a AI on top of your memories. And if you think about all of us every day having memories with each other, attending this Zoom session together, learning, all of those memories, 80% of it is lost. So what we want to do is to capture those memories technologically, and then build the AI just for that, right? So think about your personal Google for your mind. That's what we're building. So today you're here, probably not to listen to me chat about Personal.ai, but I'm happy to answer any questions later. I'll tell you a little bit about my journey. So previously I said I graduated from MIT. I had a degree in biology and a degree in EECS, which is electrical engineering, computer science. So I always loved both biology and computer science because the two of them are very similar for me. So if you think about biology, all of us are comprised of 4 nucleotides. And it's just incredible for me to build this type of intelligence based on top of 4 very simple codes. And computer, in a way, is a way for us to reconstruct our intelligence, right? To understand how that is being built. But we started from zeros and ones. So those are two very fascinating subjects for me. Post my graduation, I started working almost right away. And I was fortunate enough to always have worked in AI. So back then, AI is not as common a topic as you would see today. So AI is largely in the research labs, on TV shows, in sci-fi movies, right? When I first started my computer science journey, was actually very early on, perhaps like younger than some of you here. I wrote my first C++ program, a Hello World program, right? And that's because I have the fortune that both my parents are computer programmers, and I saw a C+ book on their shelf once. And I think that moment is very visceral in my mind because something I was able to build came to life, right? I see Hello World showing up on the screen when I coded for it. So the second seminal moment for me and my relationship with AI is in college. We learned about the Turing test. So for who may be not familiar with the Turing test, it is a way for you to assess how close computer resembles a human being. So if you think about me talking to Dan, right? And if we're both not on video, I'm not sure if she's a real person or AI, right? Or if she's really placing her AI in front of me, if I cannot tell, that is a success for the AI field. So the Turing test, both philosophically and practically, is a way for computer scientists to measure how good the AI is, right? So that concept of replicating human intelligence was always something that is super interesting to me. After graduation, I had experiences in a few very large companies and a few startups. So I was part of Nuance Communications AI group doing healthcare for patients. That group was, or that company was recently acquired by Microsoft. I was also part of LinkedIn pretty recently before co-founding this company, and I led the AI team there. So I have experiences in both very large companies and very small startups. So on the startup side, I was the third person of a 4-person company doing hedge fund trading. I was also the head of machine learning at Glint, which was my previous startup that got acquired by LinkedIn. And most recently, I co-founded Personal AI with my brilliant co-founders. So today, my focus and what Daniel asked me to do is really talk about startup journey, right? So I think lots of us think about going to Ivy League schools, going to MIT, and lots of us think about post-college, I want to be going to Google, going to Amazon. And this is because that's what we hear, right? How we perceive the world right now. So today, one of my goals is for you to all get to know like what a startup place is like, and what does it mean to build a startup, right? And of course, this is my personal journey. I don't want to generalize to every single startup experience, but this is my way of sharing with you. There is different paths and different benefits. So I'll start my first story on my first startup that I joined. So this was back in, I want to say 2013. So back in 2013, I left the big company I was in, Nuance Communications. I actually got a call one day from my old boss. And basically he called me up. He's like, hey, Sharon, I started a company. I was like, great. He says, do you want to join me? I was like, sure. What does it do? And he pitched me this very tiny company in his basement that does hedge fund trading, right? And at the time, I knew nothing about hedge fund trading. I knew nothing about finances. I absolutely knew nothing about how to trade something at millisecond level, which is what you have to do. And back then, there's no great computer software to help you to program either, right? So I kind of went into the interview thinking, okay, like, why did he try to recruit me, right? And can I actually do this job? So luckily, I think my manager or my boss at that time had a lot of faith in me, even though I was young, to be able to learn, right? So he betted on the ability for me to push towards what I don't know, push towards the barriers I have in technically and, in terms of financial knowledge. So I was there for a year and a half. Now I think back, there are some crazy moments that happened back then in the financial markets, and we were able to release almost every single day without a glitch, right? And at that time, a glitch is very costly because we were trading millions of dollars every single day. So there's one moment which I remember distinctly, that the stock market went down 150 points in 2 minutes. So we all panicked because one seminal thing about trading is you never hold a position for that long, especially not when it's going down, right? Luckily, I recovered, but I think those are the moments that also defined just being comfortable and being steady with the unknown, because there's always going to be unknown, right? Especially in the, some people said, risky, adventurous startup world, right? There are markets that's going against you. There are people who may be against you. There are expectations you have that will not be met. But the one thing that you can depend on is the ability for you to learn. So I came out of that job very blessed because I learned how to write really, really good code, really robust code that I wasn't able to do before. I also learned how to take charge of something and being super sick, but still have to work. So those are the responsibilities that role taught me. So fast forward a few years, my second story. So my second story is based on Glint, where I was the first AI hire. Glint was an interesting time because when they hired me, we were competing with a very large competitor who had a team of AI engineers. So I remember my boss kind of sitting there and said, "Hey, Sharon, we hired you so we can beat them out," right? So then we started really building everything from scratch, getting the team together, build the technology we need, build the infrastructure we need. And the happy ending is really after 6 months, we were able to win the AI award, and have NVIDIA giving that award to us over the other competitor, right? So what I learned there is not so much about myself, but it's more about being one individual person at a small startup. You can move the needle for the entire company. And now I think back at my experiences at bigger companies, I was doing amazing research, amazing things, but I was moving 1 out of 10,000 of a needle. But as startup, you are the person who takes the ownership and you make the difference. My third story is about my current startup, and it's also about my team. So the reason that we started Personal AI is both my co-founders and me have this visceral need to wanting to connect with family. So a lot of my family are back in China. In fact, only my parents are here with me. And every day I think about, how do I talk to my grandparents more? How do I talk to my little niece more, right? How do they know me as a person? How can they keep track of what I'm doing when they're so far away? So sure, I can pick up the phone and call, but I think it's both my fault and also this synchronous manner of phone calls. You have to be matching exactly on time, right? So then we thought about, how do we let people connect without the boundaries of time and without the limits? So that's how, Personal AI was born. And we think it's going to revolutionize the way that people communicate, people connect. And that to me is the impact on the world that I want to see, and my co-founders wants to see, right? So my third story is really about having your own startup allow you to build the change that you want to see in the world. And I know many of you have hopes and dreams. You have lots of great things ahead of you, and that you have lots of passion about things that you do, right? How do you translate that for the world to make an impact, right? I'll tell you one kind of funny story, but it does have a happy ending. So one day we were going to investor pitches. This is still like back on Zoom, right? I don't know if all of you remember like how many fires we had last year in California, but we were preparing for this very, very important demo. So the night before, the person who's developing the demo, my UI engineer, he calls me and he said, Sharon, I need to be back here in my whole family because we have fire going on in our mind. So he left. Me and my co-founder was like, okay, so what do we do now? We called up our other engineer in India at 2 a.m. So I said to him, hey, Sujit, we really need this, but in 8 hours, can you pull it together? So all he said back then was, sure, let me give that a try. So we hang up, right? I went to sleep. Next morning, we had another VC call. In fact, it's a in-person call. So we go to the shop, we have our pitch. At that time, I still did not have a demo in my hand. My team is scrambling to try to put it together, right? So on the way back, this is 20 minutes before the meeting happened, my co-founder got stopped by the police because he was driving too fast on his sports car. So he was talking to the police, trying to negotiate out of it. And I was on the phone with our engineer from India, and he was telling me, hey, Sharon, it kind of sort of works. I was like, okay, what is kind of sort of works? And he says, you can do this, but you cannot backspace. You can do this, but you have to refresh. You can do this, but you cannot do that, right? So I was scrambling, trying to take mental notes. My coworker was talking to the police. So all of the disastrous things that you can think of happened. We make back to his house 5 minutes before. And at that time, no one has seen the demo. We install it, the demo went flawless. I think what I'm trying to say there is we could have given up at any point in that story, right? We could have said, oh, there's a fire in California, we cannot do the demo. We could have said, we don't have any resources, we cannot do the demo. We cannot make back to room, like home, we cannot do the demo, right? But I think there's two firm beliefs. One is that our team who we're building with are people that we can trust to put something together. And the second is just to never give up. I think that's something that I learned most viscerally being a co-founder of a company, because we went through probably 30, 40, 50 pitches, and we only needed one person to believe in us and one person to say yes. But if for those 29 or 39 pitches we made, we could have given up at any single time, right? And it would not be a company it is today. So that's my third story. So I thought I would close with really talking about what are the advice I give to my 18-year-old self, right? I actually don't know your ages. So I'm gonna pretend you're all like great students in high school going to college. Right? So the first thing I would say to myself is really explore in college, right? Take risks. Because college to me is actually the fun time that you can take risk, but very low risk, to try many, many things. Take the classes you love, take classes you don't think you'll like, just try, right? There's 4 summers and 4 winters to try many things, many different companies, many different verticals. The second advice I would give to myself is really understand yourself. I think when I was that age, I did not understand what I wanted, what I'm passionate about, versus what other people wanted for me, right? There's really no one right path. There's only one right path for you, for what you're passionate about. What is that one thing you want to move the world for? Right? And the third thing is really just to understand that life is about learning, right? And all of you are here because you want to learn something great from Hattie, right? So just know that there will never be a moment where you know everything. In fact, as you grow, you probably find yourself knowing less and less, but you believe in yourself to learn anything you can learn, right? So those are the three things. If I were able to talk and time travel back to, 15 years ago, I would tell myself. So that's all I have, actually. Love to take questions and happy to answer anything. I'm a very open person. So even if you ask me about my horrific experience, I will definitely answer them. So any questions?
Okay. Sharon, thank you for the great sharing. The first question coming in is about personal.ai approach to privacy. People have researched your company.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. So I love how you picked that, because I think this is the one top principle that we always think about, right? If you think about every person's memory, is private, is personal. And we really want to preserve that even in the digital realm. The ways that we go about doing it is first, we think about ownership very seriously. For example, if I were capturing conversations at this moment, how we attribute data ownership is only the speaker who is speaking will have the ownership of the data. So that is something that we do through various different techniques in terms of machine learning modeling. And we really guarantee technologically that you will always own your data. So the company will never be using your data to train anyone else's model or monetize on it. The second thing that we do, going a little bit deeper now, is actually using blockchain and decentralized identity to protect the user's data itself. So what we do is we lock your data under a key that lives on chain that no one else has. So that data itself will always be encrypted under your own key. I know it's going a little bit too much, but that's how we think about privacy.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Sharon. Some parent is asking, they have a 11th grader in the school and I love starting companies, ventures, and does some business. They're wondering whether this will be helpful for college applications. Maybe that's dovetail into some of the parents are here. We have college students, high school students, a very diverse audience. Do you want to share something about your journey to MIT or advice to the kids who want to get into schools like MIT?
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely this will definitely contribute to their college application. So I think entrepreneurship is also a passion itself. And for me, is about, at least speaking of MIT, that people are looking for people with passions, right? And if you're super serious about it, I met plenty of successful entrepreneurs who are 17 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old, right? And all of them has this dogmatic way of pursuing what they want to do, because that's how they want to change the world. We were actually at a venture this past Wednesday, and one of the ladies, she paid her entire college through selling in-game items when she was going back in school, right? In terms of MIT, I think I can give probably better advice if you email me. But at the time I went, I think first focus on something that you're passionate about. So doing everything is good, but I think the colleges are really looking for the intensity and the passion on something. So for me, that is science and math. And the second thing is to prepare yourself, just to be open to learning and doing really hard work. There's going to be many sleepless nights. I can tell you all about them. But being open to doing the maximum that you can do, right? Third, I don't want to say grades are not important because parents are probably going to kill me for saying that. But having harder classes, more challenging classes, pushing your boundaries on them when you're in high school is more important than getting 4.0s on easy classes. Because what these colleges are looking for are people that are able to break their own barriers. So that's kind of general advice, but feel free to email me.
Yeah. That's very good. A lot of parents ask me, oh, afraid of not getting an A in a difficult class versus getting an A in the easy class. Thanks for clarifying, which is validating what we have been sharing as well. That's great. Okay, and question is, what do you think of breadth and depth? Yeah, this is right. For a college student getting into startup and sticking to it, you know my story, right? I'm not gonna get into it. Versus why don't you go to Fan and try it out versus startup, or go to teaching, right? So go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah, that's a great question because I'm the very typical depth first person because I've always been doing it. I always been doing computer science for as long as I can remember. The startup is thinking about T-shaped engineer, T-shaped human, T-shaped entrepreneur. And what I mean by T-shape is you have one specialty where you're very, very, very good at. For example, my co-founder, she's a fantastic designer. But you know what she also does? She designs our website. She writes code for it. She does marketing. So I think being open and okay to learning as much as possible on the horizontal of the T is what will make you very successful in startups. And just going in, I think one probably at least I had this policy when I was entering startup. I'll tell you a kind of funny story. So when I was interviewing, I told the recruiter, like my co-founder, really, I told him, hey, I cannot do anything except for AI. That's the thing I told him. He hired me. And now we pitch together. We go to Silicon Valley. We talk to people who are, billionaires. We talk about marketing, talk about pricing. We go to GTM strategy. You learn, right? So again, I come back to this, just be open to learn and learn how to learn. So be a T-shaped person and you'll be successful.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm telling my engineer too. It's like, okay, I just like coding, but why don't you go test the user cases, make a video of how the user use it. We're on the same page. Yeah, this is great. Okay. So so I'm gonna trying to figure out the order of the question. That's fine. I have a question coming from a parent. Looking back, what do you wish that parents have done more? Your parents have done more or less? So why are you gonna put your parents right here? Have said to you or have not said to you?
I think I don't remember the conflicts that I had with my parents, even though my mom said there were many times I was difficult. But I think the one thing I learned and my dad made me do, which I'm infinitely grateful right now, is he made me do all of the Olympic math books during summer. And I mean, all of it, right? And he sat there with me every single day. So that's something I think I wouldn't have done myself for sure. I wanted to play. And he pushed me there, right? He was always there to tell me there's more you can do. So I think I can't really think of something my parents should have told me. I really think back then I did not think they did the right thing, and I guess my answer. And I think support your kids as much as possible, their dreams, what they want to do, support them on their path.
You're lagging now, Sharon. You gotta.
I think sometimes once. Oh, how about now?
Yeah, better now. Thank you.
Okay. Sometimes I can give you my mom's example. She always wanted me to go to Wall Street. I didn't really have interest in that area, right? But I did try it out. That's why I joined the hedge fund. And I was able to go back and tell her, hey, this is not for me, mom. I'm not interested in these type of financial instruments. So I think there are times where not just parents, but people want you to fulfill their dreams. But I would say, like, let them be, right? Like, understand what their passions are and let them be.
So you're validating some of the practice here is you appreciate your father pushing you through for Olympian math.
Yep, very much.
That's very good. I never ask my kid to do any competition. So that's why my kid is not in MIT for sure. Good for you. Good for your dad. Very good. Very good. Okay, then I want to jump earlier. Do you like working startup or big companies?
I think it's a pretty obvious answer. So I definitely thrive at startups for many reasons that I talked about today. I think foremost is probably the impact that I want to make, I can see. And the second thing is really just to build something from nothing is a amazing feeling. The third thing is probably more about pace. So when I was back at LinkedIn, it was also really interesting work, but the movement is very slow. Like, everyone is at a different pace than what I'm used to at a startup. And sure, like, I know people have burnout questions. I'm the worst model for burnout. To ask about burnout, I work 120 hours a week. I have never taken a vacation since I started the company. But that is the pace that I feel most energized, right? So I think, like, it's not big company is better or small company is better, is really about like what fits you. And for me, that place is always at startups.
Wow. That's why sharing the Zoom session with a lot of the parents through the WeChat, I literally said, you're extremely busy and we're very, very grateful to have you. So I said,
no worries.
If I get only a few the parents or students, I seem a little, wasted your time. So anyway.
No, please don't feel that. I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate education in general. So I love to be here. Yeah.
Thank you. And okay, and then their question is about where were you born and raised? Yeah.
I was born in China. I actually spent all of my primary school in China, which probably gave me a lot of the work ethics I have today. And then I moved to Canada, and then moved to the States. So, but I was pretty early when I immigrated. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Now, one of the students, I know him pretty well, and ask about your ranking in the competition. Now they're getting to the details. I'm not familiar with that competition, but go ahead.
Yeah, I don't remember what the percent is, but I was always getting into at least the invitationals. I don't know how it is now. Like, it's been many years. So I don't know if I can answer that question very precisely.
Okay, must be quite top because the MIT only recruits the best of the best. So, okay, that's great. So their parents also, so I'm mixing the students and parents question, okay?
Yep.
The parents asking, oh, my student loves entrepreneurship. Do you think which major he should choose for undergrad?
Oh.
This is a really typical question. Yeah. Going engineering or going business directly?
I'm gonna give you a non-answer. You should do both.
Oh, wow.
There are so many people who are doing double majors now. You can definitely strike a good balance still in college life and academics with two majors. So if you really love both, you really think both are your passions, do both. And I think it's infinitely beneficial to have perspectives from both humanities as well as engineering. it gives you very different perspectives in the world.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. Wow, you really inspire me. I'm completely on the other side. This is great. Okay, so I just want to advertise for MIT. Okay, MIT has one of the best undergraduate business program. Okay, everybody know about Wharton, NYU, Michigan. Actually, MIT has one of the best undergraduate business programs. Okay, and
also economics.
economics.
So if you love economics, which I love, we're actually number one in economics. So just a pitch for my college.
Okay, and also political science. Okay, MIT has an election lab. Okay, so linguistics. Everybody knows about MIT STEM, and they're not very familiar with those programs, the linguistics and the business of the world. Okay, so now this question to you is, how many more years do you think 120 hours?
Definitely not. I do not recommend it for anyone else. I think is an unhealthy way of living your life, and I'm well aware of that, and I don't know how to change it. So that's my next goal in life, to be able to do less work but more productive. So
yeah. So your goal.
Now?
Yeah, better. Yeah.
I was saying I do not recommend that for anyone else. I do not think it's sustainable at all. And one of my goals right now is actually to be more balanced in my life, to be more productive, but work less hours. Yeah. So please do not do that. I do not recommend.
Yeah, I'm thinking that way. I don't know. I haven't counted my hours. I've been testing this Hattie website, waking up 3 a.m. because I like, okay, around the world, I need to get fixed it. You know, the daily releases, we're doing that. So we're on the same page.
Exactly.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. But when you see the creation, you're like, wow, this is good, right? It's like the baby.
It's worth it, right?
That's
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now, folks are asking about career plan. Did you have a career
plan? No. I think I'm lucky in a way that what I did in college naturally is something that I found I wanted to make a career out of. So I was part of the artificial intelligence lab while I was doing my undergrad thesis. And that kind of leaned me into my first job. And from there it was, actually, okay, let me take that back. So every 5 years, I rethink my career plan. So I think it's always a time of discovery in where you are today and then where you want to be when you get there, right? And I think at the 5 years mark, I went to the hedge fund, which I discovered is not something I want to do for the rest of my life. So then I became actually a sales engineer who talked to patients, hospitals all the time, talking to their CMO about the different use cases and different pains that patients have. And then I got lost again and felt I really wanted to do more engineering, more coding. So I went back to being the head of machine learning. So I think like even myself today, every 5 years, I'm reevaluating what I want to do. But I think just being okay to try something out, but being okay to pivot, very like a startup, it will serve you well. And it's okay if you don't find something you love like the first try, right? So so I'm still finding, but I know I love startups, so I'm getting closer to where I want to be.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Wow. I wish I was thinking about my plan every 5-10 years. I was working for one company for 20 years.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. But now you're starting too.
Yeah. I don't know whether it's too late or not. So, but anyway, you can't look back life. You have to move forward. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, this next one is a great question. I actually have something to share as well. How did you find your team members for your companies?
Good question. I think most of it is actually through referrals. So some of them joined us from my co-founder's previous company. And then he brought like his friends whom he thinks fits the company values and culture. And I don't know if you want me to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. So Dan's son, Aiden, works for us as an intern. I want to think of him as, you know, more than a full member of the team because he's brilliant. He does everything full stack. And I cannot, like right now, I'm panicking because Aiden's going back to Berkeley. You know, like I think just find good people that from like people that you already know, right? Like that is a really good way of evaluating if there are the people you want.
Yeah, that was such a interesting referral, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
Friend, yeah, it was through a friend actually from UCSD. I really appreciate her and sharing the opportunity with us. So yeah, because otherwise, you know, he was going to Israel. If no COVID, that won't be this won't happen.
So we kept him here. We hope.
It's because of yes, he was on the way to Israel for working
oh dear.
for summer. It was interesting. So anyway, yeah, actually for the team members, yeah. So for us, you know, we have a great team. I have a partner in China, and I've a great engineering team. We have you know, a small team here on the Hattie side in the US. But I am looking for a parent, kind of the business development partner in the US. I need folks that quite energetic, understanding the parents, understanding, can work with organization like a PTA, can work with foundation. So I'm just advertising here that if someone's interested, because majority of our parents, our students are here in US, and I just can't sustain the model. Like I probably work 100 hours, if not 120, to support all the parents and the teachers and the whole thing. I do need someone here in the US can work with different organizations. So I'm just going to share the, you know, opportunity with everybody here. If you know somebody, bilingual with Chinese and English would be perfect, because our first clientele are most American born Chinese here. So yeah. So, okay. So folks, I wanted you to talk a little bit about your major at MIT, biology and the tech. Is a double major, and they're interested whether it's bio-related. Yeah.
Yeah. So currently our work is not, even though we touch on neurobiology in how we think about memory and how we improve memory. But I wouldn't say it's super related. It was a double major at MIT. I do have like a bias towards healthcare and biology related fields. And eventually, me and my co-founder, were just talking about like doing something synthetic biology related, combined with technology. But I think right now, especially, is beneficial to do both. And I think many podcasts you would hear that now chemists, biologists, they're all computer scientists as well, because they have to write modeling software, they have to write simulations. All of those are driven by computer science now. So I still highly recommend double major in multiple things. I think being Renaissance man or Renaissance woman is advantageous.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, we teach machine learning here as well. And some parents, they're doctors, they're sending their kids over. And just because the biofield is very related to machine learning now. And yeah, you have to use computer science to process a lot of interesting data. Okay, that's great. And is it related, you know, basically, do you, you already answered the question whether you regret it or recommend it. Okay, this is all good. Okay, so I think those are all the questions here. We are almost just like a few minutes before 6 p.m. here in California. And I'm just gonna share, Sharon, just give me 1 second, because
it's actually the other one that you probably have open.
This one, right?
Not this one,
okay.
but the other one.
I can open it.
Okay, you can't open it. That's okay. I'll convert it and send it to you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to just share. Sorry, this picture is not turning out what I was trying to put together. In 2 weeks, so we're going to have also a local San Diego very well-known doctor, Dr. Ambar. He's an MD and Chicago, background, wholly loaded, okay? He is gonna use hypnosis, which is non-medical approach to help teenagers who have anxiety, depression, or just who needs somebody to talk to and help improve the well-being of their mind. Because of COVID, so many of us are suffering, okay? And let alone the kids, right? So, and the Dr. Mba also, it's the local, and it's getting out their center, which with bunch of doctors funding the approach of taking care of teenagers, only for teenagers, okay? So because a lot of the parents are here, and some of them approach us like the study habit, they can't manage themselves, a little bit upset. And he is also an author of Changing Children's Lives with Hypnosis. I do hypnosis every day. I put myself into sleep every day, okay? Between 5 to 30 minutes. And if I didn't have that, my day would be over. Anytime between 11 to 5 p.m., I would take 30 minutes or 15 minutes to hypnosis. This is really, really interesting. So next on September 9th, which is a Thursday in 2 weeks, Dr. Mba will share about tips for parenting and teenagers. But I think some of the method will be helpful for adults as well, and younger adults, the college students, because all of us, nobody's perfect. All of us have a brain that's not perfectly engineered yet, okay, or evolved yet. So anyway, so Sharon, so now coming back to personal AI, would you share any internships? Because we got to know each other because of your great opportunity for college students, interns. Will you have more internship for college students, online, remote, in San Diego? How about high school students? Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I think right now we are quite busy, but I'm always open to people reaching out. I think college, if you have interest in machine learning or any other technical field, actually, so we do everything from blockchain to machine learning. So reach out, and like we'll find a fit if we are a fit. But I think like always, I love to connect with everyone. So if you want to send me an email at Sharon@personal.ai, love to hear them. We don't always have like open advertised internship positions, but usually like Daniel was referring to, we get our referrals from people that we know, right? So, and I feel like I know all of you now. So reach out, and love to talk.
Yeah, the referral is good, and also we referred another Berkeley student through the the referral.
Yeah.
Referral, right?
Yep.
It's all working out, right? Don't you love Berkeley Bears?
I think I love both of them. So more the better. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so and I'm gonna pretty much ramping up here, and yeah, it's all good. Everything else, yeah. So Sharon, we're gonna try to process the recording a little bit, just make it, and probably put on YouTube with your permission. Is that okay? Okay.
Yep.
That's good. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Sharon. I hope that you get maybe a 30 minutes break after 120-hour work. So
I'll take a break now.
yeah, thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks. Yeah, okay. Thanks so much, everyone.
Yeah,
cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
See you soon. Okay, bye.
Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.